So everything is fine for you. I can see everything all right from Svenja. Thank you very much for your feedback, Svenja. Then let's get this started. Okay, imagine, what if your customers would generate business value? What means business value in that case? So what if they would generate content, consulting, ideas? They would test products for you. They would help you in customer service with peer-to-peer support, helping other customers with their questions. What if this business value you can measure with top of the funnel, increase of revenue, or bottom of the funnel by saving costs, particularly, for example, in the case of customer service. But imagine, for example, in product management, when you reach out to external peers and involve them in developing a product, testing new features. What if your customer would engage in all this kind of process that just triggers and boosts the value for your business? What if these people would do that, not because you ask them for or because you are paying them for, but because it simply makes them happy? They are intrinsically motivated to engage with you in the brand experience. And again, without an external award, you're not giving them money, you're not giving them promises or anything, just because they value so much being in touch with you and having an exclusive relationship with the brands they love and maybe that have changed their life. And you could harvest this intrinsic motivation and make sure that you keep the community happy, you keep this network happy, but on the other side, you also enable them to engage in the value creation. What if all this engagement would strengthen your competitive advantage, so make it very difficult to your competitor to enter your area of business, and at the same time making your business more resilient in difficult time, like we had, for example, with the COVID-19, but even also helping your business to become better and fast growing? What if? So all this what if has been analyzed by a lot of interesting media outlets, referring in particular to Harvard Business Review, an article that was published in 2014. And when I read this article, it really changed my mind in approaching the community, because it made me understand that community is not just solely for the purpose of fun or nice to have, like it was in the past, but it can be really connected to some very concrete challenges that business faces and that they can outsource to customers, for example, or other kind of network of peers to support them and to generate value for them. And again, not because you're paying this network of peers, but because they like to do it and it makes them feel happy and part of something bigger. So what Harvard Business Review came up is a framework for business models that they categorize in these 4 categories: asset builder, service providers, technology creators, and they come up with a terminology that really hooked me up. They call this orchestrators. So I would like to talk a little bit more about orchestrators. Sometimes we call it community models. Network orchestrators really brings it to the point when, for example, you have to argue with your board why community matters and why you would need budgets to make sure to implement and activate such a community. So what Harvard Business Review find out is that network orchestrators outperform other business models because they're more profitable, they have a faster growth, they have a higher return on asset, and they have a lower marginal costs. They also find out that there is no such thing like a pure network orchestration. So there are mixed models. So think, for example, of Nike and how they engage with their users to develop new products, to test things, to in the brand advocacy. Let's think of the automotive industry that in the past used customers to make them engage, for example, in how the new car model should look like. And tonight we're going to present a very concrete case of such a mixed business model where you have a company that is building a kitchen appliance, and it's a direct selling company. So in fact, by his DNA, it has already the community in a very strong position with a super engaged sales force that is connecting one-to-one with potential customers. And in this scope, you have very passionate customers that are involved, engaged, and connected to many different steps within the product life cycle, but as well in the marketing communication. And we will hear more about it with Susanna. Harvard Business Review data and came up with some examples. I would like to include that, although that some of these brands have been massively hit by the crisis. Think of Airbnb. But just to give you a concrete example of what has been considered by the HBR as network orchestrators. And the other thing is that this kind of business models are very, very rare. And this is simply because in order to trigger a community, you need a very strong purpose. And some business just don't fit in that kind of approach in creating that business. Think of Simon Sinek's Start With Why. How many companies really play this Start With Why strongly? I mean, for sure, top of mind, Apple. For sure, Nike already mentioned. But a lot of other companies don't do that. So it's very important that this is driven by a purpose that could potentially enable a community to grow, and therefore think of activating a business model that can be compared to a network orchestrator. Now, let's leave that theory, which might be require a bit more of thoughts, and I obviously also sharing the link to the article I have used for preparing my slides, and I would jump right to Susanna, that is in this call today, to tell us more about a concrete case where she managed to build a model that is driven by a community. Susanna, how are you today? So let me see if I can unmute her, because probably she's muted. I will make you presenter, Susanna. Presenter mode on. So now, Susanna, you could try to activate your microphone.
Yes, I think it should be working right now.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
I also activate my camera just for a bit, just to say hi, but I don't want to compromise the quality of the sound. So I will also turn it off in a bit. So thank you very much, Michele, for in. I will share my slides then. I have never tried with this bevy, so please bear with me.
No worries. It's super easy. It's very straightforward.
Okay, I think this should be it.
You go presenter mode. You don't have a headset, Susanna. Amazing.
Okay, great. I think that you should now be able to see my slides in the presenter mode. Can you please confirm?
No, I don't see your slide anymore. I saw it before.
I don't see it anymore.
But now it's a black screen, yeah. No, it's now. It's good. You see it.
Okay.
Go back. Now it's there.
Yes.
No, now it's again not in presenter mode. Now it is. Don't do anything.
Okay, I'm not even moving or breathing. Okay. So thank you again for having me today and to giving me the opportunity to share some best practices from our brand Thermomix, and how do we basically take care of our community, and a little bit about our story on how did we develop a really nice project called Community Stars, and also why did we do that. And I would also like to today to give you some actual examples of how do we do that and how did we get where we are right now. So for those who do not know me, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Zuzana Lapanikova, and I'm originally coming from Czech Republic, but I have been based in Switzerland for the last almost 4 years. And almost 3 out of it, I've been working in Vorwerk. So just a little bit about me. I am a big travel enthusiast, and I really love to travel everywhere where the law allow me to go. But before that, all around the globe. I love food, maybe too much. I used to also have my food book like back then before I joined Vorwerk. For that, I don't have a time anymore, but it was lovely. And I have 2 furry friends, which I love very much. Also love my husband, but that would not be appropriate to put his picture on it. And I'm obviously a big Thermomix fan. Thermomix for myself has been a product which I actually grew up with in the countries like Germany or even Czech Republic, where I'm coming from. It is a very well-known product, and I still have it very vividly in my memories when my father brought it to my mom many years ago. It was still a very old model, and how excited the whole family got. And then we were eating lots of soups from then on. So I really have this product and Thermomix as a part of my childhood and everyday life, and getting the opportunity to work with Thermomix was just really nice. But for those who maybe do not know Thermomix yet, or are not sure what actually this appliance can do, so let me introduce you a little bit about what Thermomix does. So Thermomix, it is a kitchen appliance, as Michaela had mentioned already earlier. It is very clever kitchen appliance. It can do lots of different functions and lots of different type of cooking as well. We are able to do sous vide, which is very high tech, and fermentation, also the slow cooking. Together with Thermomix, you don't get only appliance, but you also get a digital library full with recipes, where you can get almost 40,000 recipes and the different ideas, called Cookidoo. And by having Thermomix, what is really great, and I think every user of Thermomix can confirm, is that you really got to save a lot of time, but you can also learn and develop a new cooking techniques. You can get inspired by either seasonal ingredients or things which are in store right now. And it also helps you to be a little bit more sustainable with zero waste, and improve your perhaps eating habits. And what is also important is that it can help you save money because you just use your ingredients better. I am going to try to play this video, but I'm not sure with this maybe how the sound will be. So I'm just going to try it, and you can let me know, Michaela, if you can hear the music as well.
Let's have a try.
Thank you.
We see the pictures, but we don't hear the sound.
You don't hear the sound, and I don't know how to allow that. Okay, well, you will get the slides later.
I will include it. I will include it in the wrap up so everybody can watch it.
Exactly. Thank you very much. I just don't want to cause delays. Okay, so aside of having a really fantastic product, which we do and we are all very proud of, what I would say, setting Thermomix aside from other kitchen appliances or in general products, is an awesome Thermomix community. And for many people, like, yeah, I know that I will get to that picture.
The apron is just amazing.
It has been a really part of our lives, and you won't believe until you see it how many fans we have all around the world, and what are they able or willing to do for Thermomix. So it is really amazing, and me being a community manager within Thermomix, I'm having this great opportunity and chance to see all of these things. And as you can see, we have people dressing like Thermomix for Halloween. Yes, that's I love that one particular. well, people also travel with their Thermomix. So if you will, you might go to their summer house, especially in the Mediterranean countries where you spend big time of summer. People take their Thermomix with them, so so it doesn't stay behind, and they can still produce some delicious food with it. They have a different clubs where they meet and cook together. They also basically develop stickers or folies, if you like, on how to make Thermomix a little bit more fashionable. So they cover the white canvas with the different imaginary, and it's really amazing because if you go to websites like Etsy, it is full of these little tweaks, how you can make your Thermomix more personalized, and some of the designs are very fancy. We obviously have also lots of fans and users who have already stepped up their game, and they publish books or they publish recipes. They have a blogs, and this is one of the books in here. And then you also can buy quite a few T-shirts, which I was also surprised, but some of them are really funny. So our Thermomix community is fantastic, and it's so passionate, and it really is every day impressing me of how many people are willing to invest lots of energy into the product. As Michele mentioned before, being direct selling company is certainly feeding that, because our advisors are the heart of the company and of the business model. They are spreading the joy and the passion of using the Thermomix, but then our customers are sort of catching that and sending that further. So this is creating such an unbelievable movement, and that's what I think, and I believe that Thermomix is not just a product; it is a cult. And especially in countries like Germany, where Thermomix is originally coming from, where, for example, if you get married, it's very common that you get Thermomix as a wedding gift. So it is almost like integrated inside of the society and how the whole model is working. So I mentioned before that we have a very active Thermomix community, but let me break it for you a little bit. What does that mean? So currently we have a little bit more than 10 million members of our community worldwide, which is diversified between different touch points. So we have our Cookie-Do platform, where you have a digital, basically, library of recipes. We have our branded communities. We have a social media. Out of branded communities, we have 9 of them currently, and over there we have 3 million registered users. So our recipe community is very popular, especially in some countries, and some of them are having almost 1 million members. So it's very impressive, and members are very active. They are able to create their recipes for Thermomix over there and share their experience with Thermomix, and also ask for help. So this is working really nicely. We also have a successful social media channels, and of course also different groups, private or public, and fun pages, many blogs where we have bloggers only focusing on Thermomix, and then that goes also with our, well, it's not competitor websites, but it's the websites which have created the communities based on Thermomix, but they are not branded by us. So they're actually third-party websites. It also goes for the different clubs, as you have seen before. And aside of that, we also have a Community Star program, which is our branded program, and it is consisting currently of our 200 superfans. And this is something what we will talk today a little bit more in details. Superfans, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is not a late trend, but I believe lately it's having a little bit more attention and a little bit more of the buzz value behind it, because I believe that myself personally, superfans are a great tool for every brand. They are dream customers, but they are very dedicated and they are very loyal to a brand. And lately, with the younger people, Generation Z, Generation Y, and millenniums and so forth, they're also very digital. And they have a means right now, like opening up the blogs and opening up the websites to actually share and motivate and also communicate with other customers. So that's where their power is sort of multiplying. And that's where we jumped in when we launched our Community Star program. So I would like to talk with you a little bit about that. If there are any questions,
yes, Susanna, we have a question from Svenja. She's asking if the majority of your super fans are from the generation Y.
No.
We wish, probably, right?
We wish. We are trying to improve that. We wish to have a little bit of a younger stars. Here you can see some pictures of them, so you can understand the age groups in here quite quickly. The reason for it is that Thermomix, it is sort of a traditional product in Germany and other countries, and mostly it has been marketed for ladies who are, and gentlemen of course as well, who are either at home with kids, or they perhaps went to retirement and want to do some other activity, or for in general like mummies, or that has been our main target group. And that's the reason why many of our community stars are from this age group. And also we have advisors, and for that we have some younger people, and we are now slowly more targeting for the younger crowd. That's why we're also getting some influencers in our Community Star project, and we try to mix and match, let's say.
So but, you have seen in the last year diversification.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. We are really working hard on that to also talk to younger audience, and I have myself personally, I believe that it's important to have also influencers and digital audience among our community stars for the reason I mentioned before. So we definitely diversify. The only thing where we are really lacking checking on the pictures is that we need more men. So we have many ladies right now. So
but
this is
the target audience, right?
Yes, exactly. So we aim for more men in 2021. I hope we will manage to scoop some.
So Susanna, I have a question from Andres. In what time frame did you gather 10 million members?
Oh, that's a lot. Don't forget that Thermomix, it's a rather, it's not a new product. Our Thermomix community has been functioning for more than 10 years, the branded one. And it basically started with our TM31 device. So that's, as you can see, long time ago. And then we opened up Cookie-Doo. And then we started opening our social media channels, and then Cookie-Doo. And with the rise of social media channels, and especially when Facebook started to invest into the groups and the community features within the Facebook, then when we saw the massive growth of groups. And in some countries, I know in Portugal that for a fact, we have a group which is public, but it is managed by somebody else as a fan group, has more members than our official page. So these groups are really massive. And I would say last 10 years, that would be a time frame. And right now, I don't think we have some extra growth. I think that we have been just accumulating people in the time. But the biggest boom has been with the TM5, where we really pimp up our branded community back then. So we saw lots of people coming in, and then of course with the Cookie-Doo.
So put it in other words, Thermomix exists, I think, since the 70s, right?
Yeah.
But it was
maybe 70s.
But it's only since you have a digital platform that you're able to measure and count how many people are engaging in the brand experience. And as you explained, we talk maybe now about members, but these members are not solely on the branded community. So the community platform that is managed by Thermomix, you have a lot of different independent brand communities like Facebook groups that are managed by customers or advisors. You have third-party platforms like Coocomix in France that has a community space. So, but altogether, we managed to measure it since we have platforms. Before it was simply impossible, right?
I mean, we are obviously not counting the third parties platform. The count of 10 million comes from combined members of our social media channels, our branded
Yeah.
Cookie Do and recipe communities, which are in 9 countries.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is Community Stars program, you might ask? Community Star program is a global community program which we developed together with markets. It didn't come from the center, from Switzerland, but I did it with the countries a bit more than 2 years ago. And we basically decided to scoop our most active and engaged superfans and to do something for them in return. And we will talk a little bit about the value sharing in the next slide. So I'll explain a little bit more how that is working. What was the biggest motivation for it, and also how did we explain it to the business? Why do we need to create such a program? Is obviously for the company, which is massively depending on advisors and the word of mouth. This has been a strong indicator, because whenever you are working with your superfans, you are increasing a positive word of mouth with your biggest brand advocates, which are having then their own social influence on their social group. So this is really helping. You are obviously playing also into the customer retention, which is important for us because we don't diversify our portfolio for Thermomix. We have one product, and therefore it's important that we sort of educate our customers as we go, and we grow with the customers, so they and changing the models and they stay loyal to our brand. And then, of course, we also wanted to strengthen the relationship with the biggest supporters because of reasons which I think for the community managers are quite clear, but for a business sometimes this needs to be pin up, and that's having this organized group of advocates helps you with the crisis communication. It helps you with defending your brand in case that there is somebody trying to shame it, and so on and so forth. But Susanna, I will talk about it a little bit later. Tell me.
Susanna, one question. You said you scooped the most engaged customers within the community. How did you do that?
We'll get to that in the next slide.
Thank you.
Thank you. Together with our community stars, we are creating content, we are testing products, we generate ideas, and we advocate them. And we are basically using our community star social influence and their social media space and social, in general, digital space for them to help us to do that. And currently the setup is that, so I'm in the Switzerland, in the center, where we coordinated on the high level and the global ideas, but then the markets are facilitated because it's important. You might ask why. For us, the reason why we decided to do it such as was that it's very difficult from the center to coordinate things which are very culture related or nation related. There are some things which might be really sensitive perhaps, and if you are from the center and you don't have the knowledge of the local environment, you might overlook that. So we always felt that it's better to have a native team in the country which knows the local environment the best to facilitate this program. I know you might have a question about recruitment and so on, because I know everybody always asks me that. So I will speak about it a little bit later, but let me talk for a bit about the value balance, because I believe that when you thinking about setting up the superfan program, or when you already have a superfan program and you thinking how to explain it to your stakeholders or to your business or even people around you, why is it important to do such a thing, and what is the value balance? Because one may think that we just give or we just take. It is none of that. And that was important for us from the very beginning to basically set up as much as possible a balance, 50-50, we give and we take. So, and the reason for it is that we don't pay our community stars for their activities, and we don't want to exhaust them and to basically how to say it, like use them with the bad meaning of the word without giving back to them, because that is happening in some communities. We know it is happening in some communities, and that's leading to a quite large dropout rate. And when you manage a community or your super fans, you need to be very careful with that, because you want your community stars, or well, whatever super fans you have in your company, to stay with you for as long time as possible. What did we do? So we define what is motivating our community stars, and then what was our motivators. So for us, it was very simple. Our community stars, and this is something what we have also asked them afterwards as a feedback, which we were actually quite surprised of, appreciate the most that they have a direct link to the company. So for them, that they have this community manager in the country, or me in the Switzerland, and they can talk to us directly, and we often do. It's really very valuable, and it's a great reward for them. So we also feel honor, obviously, having this link with them. They feeling recognized by the brand for their contribution, and this bit is very important. These people did not start to do and create all this great value once we launched the program. They have been doing it long time before. And to have a brand coming to them and saying, well, we noticed that you actually do all this great work, and we would like to include you inside of this program, and therefore give you some evaluation for that. It is a very important factor. It's a recognition, and everybody likes that. So this was also a big motivator. With that, and being part of the Community Star program, if you will Google Community Star program, or if you will put it in Instagram, you will see so many posts from our community stars putting the logo, we gave them like little accessories with the logo on, and they proudly present it in their post. In every post they do, they print T-shirts, they are sticking it on their Thermomixes. They are just so proud to be community stars, because that's diversified them from the rest of the community. So it's like sort of like a VIP status, which they're all so proud of. And then other customers and the other members of community can see that they are actually, well, let's say like something extra. So that's working really well. We also find out that for them it's really important to be learning a new skills and improving the existing skills. So that's why we are trying, whenever we are thinking of activity for them, like live events and or right now digital events, to always offer them something to feed this need. So improve their skills, improve their knowledge, and basically make sure that they are growing with us. And also they have access to data, to the beta testing, and to new products, new accessories, and they can see the previews of the books or of the magazines, and this is being very important as well in here.
Susanna, let me ask a question. So how do you deal with confidentiality in that case? Because you're saying that if they are connecting also to product before these are like launched to the market, how do you deal with like avoiding that you have leaks about new product launches?
So I must say that our community stars are very polite, all of them, but we would not just count with that. We have them sign NDA before we go into any beta testing or any product testing. And it's quite a standard NDA we have in the company. And we also communicate it very well. We have also the group rules, which are clearly stating that in the moment that you will have some leak coming from you, you will be kicked out of the group. And then, of course, there's a legal bonding as well with that. So far in 2 years, I'm knocking it on the teeth, we did not have any leak. So that's a Czech thing.
This is very Czech, yes.
Yes, very, very Czech. So, I'm not going to explain it to you why, because it's a bit weird.
But I remember you had situations where we actually had to kick out people out of the community star program, didn't we?
We had one lady in Portugal who we had to kick out, and that was not because she leaked something, but basically she got a little bit upset about some personal things, and then she started to shaming a little bit our product, and that was right after we launched a TM6. I will tell you how did we avoid that ever since in the next slide, and that has to do a lot with the selection of the community stars and our super fans in the group.
I have a question
Okay.
from Andres,
Yes.
and you tell me whether you're going to cover it later or you want to answer now. So the question is, how many hours per week average does a community star dedicate to Thermomix?
Very good question. If we talk about dedicate to Thermomix as a community star program or as a Thermomix is live. So for many of them, they wake up with that and they go to sleep with that. They post many pictures throughout the day on their social media channels. They search for the new recipes. And if we have some sort of a challenge for them, like create the recipes, they create recipes in the afternoon. So I don't know how they do it, to be honest with you. We have a lady in Germany who has a job, a normal job, and then she has a group on Facebook with 30,000 people in it, and she is the admin. So I would not be able to say how many hours, but it's more like, I would say all day, a little bit. And it, of course, depends star to star. But we have some extreme examples, which, especially advisors, who are really living the product. So it is the whole time. I hope that answered that. And then I just want to say, what motivated us as a business to go for it, because sometimes the business is reluctant. Why should we invest into the small group of people? What is in it for us? Where are the benefits? We prefer to invest into the sales or into traditional marketing, if you like. So with the community stars and all the super fan programs, there are thankfully already data behind it that you basically can also play with a cost reduction. So there are a couple of areas in there. One of the big areas, and that depends how you set your project up, is the customer care cost. If you're going to have a community which is very service-based, this is where you can really play into your advantage and use superfans as your voice of your customer care, and therefore reduce number of tickets and number of calls onto the customer care. You can also, with the testing, because many companies are hiring professional testers and they pay the testers and or pay the company who is organizing the test, and then these are quite costly things. When you have a group which you don't pay, then you also reduce the cost. You can also reduce the cost for the crisis communication support during some crisis. We have ourselves used it a couple of times already. Not that we had an actual crisis, but it's more when something comes up, something small, they always come to the rescue. And then you also save costs for perhaps marketing in that sense, because you have a lot of positive word of mouth, and our product has been historically sold based on word of mouth, because we did not invest into marketing as a display marketing until quite recently. And then, of course, for us, can I? Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, Susanna, what you were saying, and there is a lot of research showing that building a strong relationship with your customer just lead us, readiness to pay more, readiness to buy more, and then also jump into the brand advocacy.
Yeah.
is something that really generates the kind of value that we have mentioned. But I think I would like to emphasize what you just said before. It's a balance. So it's not just a matter of don't paying them, making them work for free. I mean, that sounds like quite of negative. I think like what you mentioned before is like this value balance, and you pay back in form of exclusivity, and help them become better in what they like to do.
Exactly.
Right, and the recognition part, I would
exactly.
say as well.
And the last bit for us, for what motivate the business, and this is what we're seeing actually recently, is that we, as we are a kitchen appliance, so we have a library of many recipes, of many hundreds and thousands of recipes, and we ask our stars to create the recipes for us. And this is This means that we then don't need to pay recipe developers to do that. We still do that. We do both now, which is a great symbiosis between having the recipes which are created by customers and then recipes created by professional recipe developers, and that also goes with testing. So this is.
So imagine having customers creating recipes just also gives the possibility to have much a broader type of recipes, and looking into the food habits, thinking of how many types of vegan are there, or now the paleo, or the you name it, that it's just, to fuel all this just helps it so much to have so many different recipes. Just opening one quick anecdote, Susanna. So I remember that in Australia, we had a Thermomix customers that has become famous because she developed a chocolate cake that you do with kidney beans. Actually, you can use any kind of beans. So it's a chocolate cake made with beans, and you're like, what? How? The idea of having. But I have tested this cake once, and it became my favorite chocolate cake. Because with the beans, the humidity of the chocolate cake is just so amazing, and it's healthy, and it's calorie light. So it's, I mean, like, we got like this idea, and it's just some mind blowing. Sometimes you have customers and members of the Community Star program that comes up with this kind of recipes that you would never have thought about it. And they just do it because they have probably a need, and they can, and they know how to do it. And they feel motivated to do it. So that's really amazing.
It is, I agree. It has been a long process for us since we started with the Community Star project to have the brand trust that customers can do a good quality of job. But I must say that now this is not yet a one race, but it is in the victory lane. So we are very proud of that. You have been asking, and I know everybody always asking me about how do we recruit our Community Stars. So to answer that, I prepared already a slide for you. Well, there are a couple of things which are really important for us, and this might not apply for all the superfan programs, but for us it really paid in our advantage. So what we do is that we do a manual selection. We do really detailed evaluation, and that means that what does it mean actually in a practice? So we find somebody, or somebody comes to our attention, usually through the community managers, who could be a really great candidate for Community Star project. Unless they come to us directly. We really nit and pick this person profile, and we check what they have been doing in the past, what other outlets they're having, are they working with other brands, are they perhaps having different partnership with somebody else. And you can also tell already like what the motivation is. Is it somebody who aspiring to be a big influencer or not? This is very important for us because we do not offer money. Therefore, the motivation in there cannot be, I want to become rich, I want to become famous. So we are more aiming for a micro influencer, if you like, or people who are more interested in the recipe creation and development. After that, after we see the person, we actually observe the person for 3 months. And we checking how do they behave, and if their behavior did not drop, or something else didn't happen, or we really are detailed in how do they talk with their audience. And that's a reason why we managed to have only 200 people, because you might say, why do you have so few people? It is so incredibly important for us to have all this background check. When we had this case in Portugal, when we had to kick the lady out, we didn't do it. And that was the mistake, because if we have done it, we would find out that this lady has been an advisor in the past, and she have actually left her role as advisor with a very bad manner and on a very bad terms with the team. So we would know that she might be problematic. And this would tell us. But after that, when we say, okay, this person seems to be suitable, we have an interview. And that has to be honest with you, this is the most crucial part of the recruitment process, because through the interview, you can really identify the motivators, you can really identify the vibe of the person. The groups are in 8 countries. Altogether, it's 8 countries, so they are not too big. We need to make sure that these people really fit into the group and they would fit into the dynamics of the group as well. So that's why the live interview is very important. We do not have a fully automatized recruitment process, just because you need to have the human factor in the end. At least, like, if you want to set up a fully automatized process based on some criteria, at least the last decision, the last click when you say, yes, I want this person to become part of my super member program, should be human control because of the reasons I just mentioned.
So, Susanna, I have a question from Svenja. You say we observe. So, who is part of this onboarding
Community
process?
managers.
So, which other? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's all in
Yes.
hand of
Absolutely.
the local community
Yeah.
managers in the local
Yeah,
marketing
think about
team.
it. We add about 2 people a month, so it's not that much. You don't observe these people daily. You go once a week. You check what they posted. Are they keep posting it, or were they just posting a lot because they knew they wanted to apply? And so sort of like wanted to spike their activity in order to get in. We had also lots of confusion from our applicants when we understood that they have no clue what the Community Star program is. And there was just one lady in the village who applied, who told other ladies in the village, so they all applied. And then we had, like 10 random ladies from some Italian village where they all wanted to become a Community Stars. Without, some of them didn't even have a Thermomix. So you really need to, like, this is the moment when you would have a automatize. Maybe you would get people you don't really want to have there, So it's really important to be rather slow. I would recommend to be slow and to be detailed rather than just go fast and make and want to be growing with really fast speed. What is also important for us is the digital intelligence. I don't know if it's the correct term to call it, but we did have at the beginning many community stars which were a little bit older, and we literally had to open a Facebook account for them because they didn't know how to do it. We told them. Right now, I must say all of our stars are very educated and they really know very well how to make a video of themselves, and they're being fantastic. But at the beginning, it took a long time. So right now, we prefer when the applicants are a little bit at least digital, so they know social media, they know how to use websites. And I will explain it to you why. And you would be thinking, like, who doesn't know? But people don't know. There are people in Mediterranean countries, especially, I don't know why, who have Thermomix, but they don't. Maybe they have a very old computer at home, and they just don't. They don't. So this has proved for us a little bit. We prefer people who knows. Obviously, passion for Thermomix. That's very important. That's a no-brainer. And then they should be a team player, and that goes with what I said before. The groups are a bit smaller. They are not as big. You can hide among 100 people. You probably not going to be talking every day. You're not going to be in the spotlight every day. But if you are 20, then you should be part of this 20 in the similar force as the other 19, because we don't want to have a big group where I will only have a 10% active people, because then what's going to happen? That's a community. That's not a super fan program. And therefore, I always need to have this 10% in this small group. Any questions on the recruitment process, Michele? Because I cannot see
Not from the chat, but I have a question for you that I prepared. So I have the advantage of having me seen your slide before, so I could prepare myself a bit. So as I understood, like the most of the potential community star have a public profile. Yes. Because obviously, otherwise you would not be possible to observe. But let's say somebody's applying but is not having any public profile. What would be the means that makes you accept such a person as a community star?
I will talk about it when we in a bit, because we changed the way how we have the registration process right now slightly. We ask also, for example, give us an examples. Where did you help somebody? And most importantly for us, send us the example of your recipes. If this person is going to have and incredible recipes in the community with lots of people liking it, but perhaps it is not Instagram person, and all is helping others whenever they need to help with the product. That means, oh, my Thermomix is still working, what can I do? You know, giving some sort of like a hints and tips. Then this could be a way how they could still get into the program. But since the group activities are digital in general, we still need to then invest the time and to educate this person into using a digital means. That doesn't mean that they have to become an Instagram influencer at any way, but because we are, and I'm going to talk about it a bit later, we're going to have a platform. They need to know how to operate a platform. Otherwise, they could not be able to use it and therefore be part of the Community Star program.
So I understand that it's not. I mean, the main goal is not to recruit brand advocates, but particularly all different kind of people that bring in skills that we can connect to various process in the value creation, whether this is testing a product or developing a recipes, or helping customers.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you might ask now, how do we measure? Because for every superstar and a super fan and super user, super member program, this will be something what you need to do at the beginning. So how do we measure our program success? I talked about before, what do we basically do as a part of the activities inside of the Community Star program? Is it testing, it is advocation, content creation, and ideation. So we created these KPIs. We call it TACI because that's how we remember it. So it's very fancy. And basically we are taking a number of bugs which are being reported, and we are taking a hashtag, how many hashtag has been used. I think that this number is actually outdated. I'm really sorry. We now have over 1 million use of the hashtag, and that's created by the group of 200, and that's 1 million individual posts. So just, it's a lot, if you can imagine that these people created that much content in 2 years. I must say that our hashtag is trending a little bit, and this is a sort of a side effect, good and bad, because we are operating under for Thermomix Community Stars or BMB Community Stars hashtags on Instagram, and because people start noticing this hashtag, even if they're not part of the program, they start using it. So that's happened with, you know, with people who would also get noticed and perhaps pick up for a program, but then this 1 million is not fully by our stars, but 90% is. So this is really impressive. Content creation, that's clear, is number of user-generated content, number of recipes, and support of other customers and reviews. And then the ideation, well, that's self-explanatory, I believe. This is something what we, I must say, and if I can share that, struggle a little bit the most with, because we have been for now in Facebook, and to collect all this data, because our stars are having so many different activities on so many different platforms, it's a manual labor. So we really have our community managers every month to be filling in the Excel sheet how many recipes has been published, how many hashtag has been used, and so on and so forth. So it is not yet fully automatized, but it's so important to collect these numbers that it's worth the time you investing into this manual labor. We talk a lot about the recipe creation and about what our stars do, and I just thought I'm going to show you an example what incredible things they do, and to talk a little bit about that. What does that mean for us as a business? So as mentioned before, user-generated content, which is something what they post on their own social media channels, but they also create recipes for Thermomix magazine, recipes for Cookie Dough. We had our first Cookie Dough collection created by Community Stars, I believe, a year ago, and it was a really, really, really big fight. We had to fight. I think we have now almost 8 of them, and I know that another one is preparing. It's actually start coming like very, very regularly, because recipe developers from the country understood that community stars are creating good quality recipes. And they are so happy with using their content because, as Michele mentioned, the diversity you have, it's just easier when you have more people helping you, and then you can come up with maybe a little bit extraordinary recipe, something what you would not expect, and care for the broader audience. All the recipes which are published on Cookidoo and created by community stars are being tested by us. So this is where the process is a little bit different. We do have that extra gate control, if you like, when we give it like a stamp. This is Thermomix approved, and they still don't get paid for it. If somebody would like to ask.
I have a question actually from Andres on a different question. He is asking, as an example, Thermomix Argentina has 30,000 followers in Instagram, and Andres would like to know where or how do the community star fit and communicate through.
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
So mainly it's about do we have a community star program in Argentina?
No, we have a community star program only in the countries which are affiliate. That means most European countries, and from overseas we have China currently. And if you look at the languages in here on this page, we have Poland, we have Italy, we have Portugal, we have UK, we have Germany, we have Spain, and we have France. Not sure if I did not forget anybody.
So the community star program hasn't been rolled out to all countries yet.
Look, it would be fantastic if we do that. And this is something definitely what we would like to do in the future. But right now, we just wanted to make sure that our program is strong in the basis and we have a really solid know-how that we can give to the countries which are not affiliated, which are maybe export countries, that they could roll it out on their own. But there are so many aspects which needs to be cared for, from the selection to the maintenance to the constant communication, that it does require that extra resource in the company. So you really need to be careful with that. And the resource should not be one, it should be more than just one person, because so for that reason it's a bit difficult for smaller countries.
But let me add also something to Andres' question. So one thing is social media management, and a lot of countries selling Thermomix have obviously activated their social media channels, whether this is Instagram or Facebook. But in regards to the Community Star program, it requires additional resources. It requires budget. It requires competencies in building community and knowing how you connect with people and get them excited over this program, and then also choose the right people to make them join. So it's, I would say, complementary to, I would say, more regular social communication on Facebook and Instagram, as an example. Obviously, in the example of Argentina, if Argentina is saying, well, what we are actually experiencing, we have countries coming to us and saying, hey, we would like to be part of the Community Star program. If that's the case, then obviously there is training required. We need to have a commitment from the country that they are able to provide the resource in terms of people, so community manager, and also budget resources, financial resources to run the program. So it's a big, it requires investment. It's not everything for free, right?
It's difficult. Like I don't know if all community managers are like that, but I'm very overprotective over my community stars, and I would just like not to become something a half-baked product for the other countries, which could then in the result actually damage the brand. As a global brand, I would like the community stars become something what the customers know is possible to join if you are in these countries as a Thermomix customer, if they're going to be active enough. But sometimes this is very difficult to control, especially the quality control is very difficult afterwards if you just let it go to the world. So not yet, but good input. We would definitely think of it for a future. So. Okay, can I move on to the next part, Michele, or would you like to add something?
No, I have actually another question. Don't put it that I'm asking all the questions. I have here a very engaged community listening to your presentation. So I think there are questions need to be addressed. I have a question from Marvin. He's asking, has there been a change in the recruitment process because of COVID-19? Have you experienced difficulties?
No. And I will explain it to you why in a bit, why we did not. And the reason for it is that we did stop a recruitment process in the COVID. But the reason for it was not because of the COVID, but because we are launching a new Community Stars platform. And this is my second part of the presentation today, where we have a little bit of a different registration process, recruitment process, and we basically allocate all our resources in the countries into making sure that the platform is going to happen, because as I explained before, the recruitment process is really lengthy and really time difficult. So we just prioritize it over that. But if we wouldn't have a platform happening, I don't think it would change. Just the reason for it is that perhaps it will be easier for us. And I don't know if you have experienced this in your industries and your companies, but during the COVID, our community went crazy. We suppress all the records we have had from the Christmas of I don't know how many years. It just the usage of the platforms and how active people have become. It has been astonishing. Literally everybody has been cooking because canteens were closed, people were not in the offices, kids were home, right? So somebody had to give them some food for lunch as well, and this really sparked the interest of many people of learning how to use the device better, perhaps, and then for the people like which are a little bit more advanced to try new things and to invent new things. So we saw such a huge rise of the engagement on our social media channels, on our community platform, that it will be actually easier to pick up more active members. Okay, I hope that answered that.
Yeah, yes. Otherwise, Marvin, you just drop me another message.
Okay.
And Susanna, another 10 minutes, and then we should come to
this is going to be fast. I'm sorry, I didn't know it's going to take so long. I thought I'm going to be ready in 10. So let's go on to the Stars platform. So as I sneaked a little bit before, our Community Stars project has been for 2 years based on the Facebook secret groups. You probably are familiar with the Facebook secret groups. That's the groups which you cannot find in the search. And they have been really lovely because, they have all the great functionalities. Facebook really did invested a lot of money in the communities within the Facebook. So we were quite happy with that. It was a free solution as well because we didn't obviously pay any licenses. And I think it has been good because it's very convenient. You have it in your phone. Stars have a really easy access to it. It came in the time when the leaks were going, so there were some security concerns, but we overcame that. We got onto the Facebook. We were very happy. And that was when we were piloting the program. So we were not sure actually, is it going to work in the year? Is it not going to work? Well, it did work. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting in here. So thank for that. And as a result of that, we decided to invest into the multilingual online community platform, which would be a new home for our Community Stars. And we did lots of searching in different community providers. We spent many months on that and many meetings and defining what do we need, what our requirements are from our end, because this is a little specific. This is not a community. This is a super fun platform. So we had a little bit of a different requirement than you would have for the standard community. And in the end, we decided to go for Telligent. This is the community provided by Berint, and we are very happy with that. So welcome to the new world of our Thermomix Community Stars. So far, we have launched the platform fully in Italy, and this month this month not, it's 4 more days. So next month, we are launching in Portugal, Germany, and Spain, and then in UK and in Poland. So we are very busy with the platform. As you can imagine, launching a new website is always a little bit of a nightmare. Is this a little bit of a nightmare? We are very pleased so far. Where do we get with that? You can have a beautiful landing page in here, and also lots of different features, activities. And I would like to tell you a little bit about it right now. So registration page, you asked me about registration process. What do we do? What do we don't do? We did take all these things we have been asking our Community Stars applicants so far in the interview or in the emails, and we put it into the digital questionnaire, if you like. So it is sort of like a conversational flow, asking our our applicants, how long they've been using Thermomix for, what are their social media profiles, where did they help somebody, to show us their recipes. And in the end, we also asked them to upload the video of themselves, why they should be a community star. So it is a sort of like a really proper application process, which is not very short, but it's meant to be for a reason, because we want to do this gatekeeping. If you ask me if they automatically become community stars based on something, no, we have the human factor judging in the end. And what is very clever about it, and this has been custom made, by the way, this is not part of the Intelligent, is that each answer has a different value, different weight, and you collecting the points and also flags. So we can also flag your profile. After you finish this registration process, the community manager sees a very pretty dashboard where they can see directly in front of them how many points each applicant received, and then if there are any flags, and then basically just make their life easier, because this was important for us, to make life easier of the community manager to quite quickly recognize which applicants are the most likely to be suitable for a community star project, and go directly into their application and get to them. So the next step would be then to schedule an interview after the observation, of course, on their social media accounts.
So this is like this service that at the end tells you what kind of person you are. It's like similar. It's creating a psychological profile based on number of points,
Yes.
right? And then tells potentially if you are in the potentially community star, or
it doesn't tell you it just tells you, we let you know, but we know that in the back end, and that's important bit, because sometimes it has been really, not all the time, has been really labor intense when we had to collect all this information about our stars. When we found the person on Instagram, but then we had to search what is their Facebook account and what is their blog, and click here and click there. Like this, we have everything on the one place, and the process is like sending an email after you finish your application, or you are accepted or you are not accepted. This is automatized, so it makes our life much easier. So we're very pleased with that. But aside of the shiny registration page, which is actually open for public, so you can also take a look at it. Please don't spam our application dashboard, but with your applications, but you can take a look at it. We also have a part which is at the actual page, and that's obviously protected with the password, so only community stars can access it. That's the reason why I just put here a couple of screenshots just to give you an idea what is inside of there. So we tried in a way recreate the experience which you have on Facebook. That means we stay away from the forum-based community. We actually created a newsfeed where our stars can upload the videos or the photos or the recipes, and this would be displayed on the top, also on your phone. We have a section for community managers for the announcements, which they can pin on the top, and they are also being featured in the hero content on top of the page. Each star has a profile when they can describe themselves. We obviously have also event calendars where we can organize and notify about different events, lots of different notifications, and we have the leaderboards, which are, really nice. So stars, obviously, based on their activities on the website, can collect different points, and based on that, they can be rewarded with the different badges, which are specified for which area it is a recipe or it is challenges. I talk about it before, to do lots of recipes, right? Because this is important for our business model. So we created an area which is, or we call it challenges, where the stars can actually drop their recipes based on the topic, and the community manager doesn't need to create a PDF files or a form on Google. Everything is in there, and then we can flag. We can have a also, well, the typical community features such as flagging abusive content and friendships, we don't really need it in here. So we tweak it a little bit. But overall, it is an amazing experience for the community stars and also for community manager, because, and this is the important, my favorite bit, I must say, in the package with this beautiful platform, we also have a great reporting for every community, social media and marketing manager. We know we need to measure our data, and Facebook has been good with that, but has not been fantastic, especially with the smaller groups. But in here, I have an opportunity as a community manager or as a manager in the country, outside of the country, see all the countries, how do they perform, how each individual star is performing, what are the most liked and clicked articles and content, which challenge is the most popular, and sort of like have this really easy reporting right at my hand, which can all be obviously exported into the Excel, so reported then to your manager. Any questions?
So I think what is the sorry, I just want to summarize. So I think what is the most important message here is that what you said before, right? The balance of value, exclusivity is really that thing that pays off the efforts that our community stars are putting in engagement with us, and you're just showing it, right?
Totally.
We create a platform that is exclusive for
Exactly.
these people. We create events that are exclusive. We create we offer information that are exclusive. So the exclusivity is playing all along the journey of this community star members. And it pays off even at the point to create a dedicated platform.
And it is amazing if you think about the journey of our program, how it has been from the beginning, when we were sort of under the radar, trying it out in the pilot program on Facebook, sort of waiting if it's going to prove its value. Well, it did, and now we present them this beautiful shiny place where it's for them. We obviously care. We obviously want to give them back, and it's just a great satisfaction for them as well. And we are just very proud. But what I have to say is that you can have the best strategy in the world, and you can have the best community stars or super fans in your company in the world, but if you don't have a good team of community managers who are going to support your crazy ideas and work more than they should, and I must say I have been very, very, very blessed with that. And this is just a big thank you to all of them, because they have been incredibly amazing. And this is just a little group in the picture. And unfortunately, we cannot now meet in person, but we used to a lot, and lots of these things are coming from them, and with them, and without them would not be possible.
So that leads me to the last questions, and then I really want to wrap up this CMX Connect tonight. Thank you very much, Susanna. But the last question is the following. So how big is the team? So in total, how many community managers are helping you with the Community Star program? And are they doing only that, or are they may be also engaging in other tasks?
So Michele, why are you asking that? So I am alone in Switzerland. So it is just me and little helpers of a few externals who have been very supportive. But overall, it is just one headcount in Switzerland. And then we have 8 countries, as I have mentioned before. In these 8 countries, even though you see more people in here, then this is a number. In some, there are more than just one person, but there are only 2 countries, where this person is actual community manager per title. We have in majority of our countries people like a customer marketing, customer manager, social media manager, all these different managers, and they are sharing the community stars and community management responsibilities within the same role, also with other activities like social media management, community management, promotion management, sales activities. It is a very broad mix of things they do at the same time. So ideal, we only have one person actually in Italy who is dedicated for community management.
Thank you very much, Susanna.
No worries. Thank you. I'm sorry for being so long. I really didn't know it's going to be that long.
Don't
Are
worry.
there any more questions? You can either also contact me directly afterwards. I'll be really happy to share with you, or Michele will pass it to me later on. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Susanna, for sharing your insights about the Community Star program. Just going to switch to my screen for the last 5 minutes of our first CMX Connect. So I would like to thank everybody for joining this edition. We had about 30 RSVP, but 10 people really committed. So this is like 30% of the total number of people that have confirmed the tendency, which I think is a very good conversion. I would love to see you all again on the next CMX Connect, which is about to happen on the 23rd of September, same time, same place. In the next edition, we're going to have a so-called fireside talk with one of the brightest minds when it comes to online communities. And his name is Professor René Algesheimer from the University of Zurich, where he is chair of marketing and research. I will be reaching out to you, collecting beforehand questions that you would like to ask. And then also what I would like to do, and you can expect that, is to gather your inputs of what you would like to see as a topic for one of the next CMX Connect for Zurich. And then finally, I hope that very, very soon we'll be able to organize a physical event where we're going to meet, we're going to share some drinks, we may have also time to have some small talks. I would really love and looking forward to that. But for the time being, we will continue having the CMX Connect Zurich as a virtual event. Don't forget to sign up for the CMX Summit in October. It's a virtual event as well. Any more questions that you want to address, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And I think we have a very last the very last 3 minutes for a question from Svenja. Not sure if we have time for other questions. Okay, let's see. We have 3 minutes, so we will be fast in answering. Otherwise, we will follow up after it. You mentioned you moved away from a forum model to a newsfeed model. How was the engagement from the community when they first entered and there was this empty feed? Did you activate them a lot so that they started to use the newsfeed, or did they do this on their own? Susanna, can you still answer that question? I probably need to activate your microphone, right? Yeah. Susanna.
Yes,
Hello.
yes. Sorry. It always takes a little time. Good question. Don't be afraid of empty feed. I find more like scary the empty forum, to be honest with you. But I must say that obviously you are starting the conversation always. You are always leading the conversation with your community. So we always start with this first post when we take opportunity to either introduce people to themselves or to introduce ourselves. And this is always such a really nice icebreaker. What has been really popular has been posting video of us introducing ourselves when they put the face and the voice on our profiles or on our icon. They just always make it much better. And then we ask them to do the same. And this has been, I must say, in every group, and I would sign under it, has been proven to be working really, really well. So always start yourself, lead the example, and then ask them to join. Because they're active members already, they're usually not that shy.
Thank you very much, Susanna. And with that, I leave you with the Thermomix hymn, which is a song that has been created by a customer. His name is David Castro, and he just had a great idea on the jingle of Thermomix that you hear when a recipe is cooked, to put some other instruments on it and make this sound. And with that, I would like to thank you one more time very harshly Everybody, thank you for joining CMX Connect Zurich. See you on the 23rd of September, and count on me with the wrap-up email and all the beautiful links and further resources of the content that you have heard tonight. Thanks. Have a safe trip back home. Stay healthy until September, and speak and chat to you very soon. And thanks to you, Susanne, again. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.